Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. Today, I thought we would use Darling District from Pinkfresh Studio. And we are going to get 2 cards for 1 out of this set. So I got the stamp set along with the press plates, but I got the stamp set because they have extra little stamps here that you can stamp on your buildings that do not come in the press plate set. But as it turns out, we're actually not going to use those 2 little stamp sets today. So we are going to be hot foiling. I will be using the press plates, the stencil set, and the die set. And then I am also bringing in the Bloomscape suite. I have the stamp, the die, the stencil, and the press, and we are going to hot foil with that press plate. And like I said, we are getting 2 cards out of 1, so this is going to be a little bit longer video. I already hot foiled. I did my buildings here, and I've hot foiled that with black foil along with my Bloomscape image. And let's get our stencils out. We're going to do our building first because we're going to kind of build off of the colors in the building, and I will be working out of order. I will be going stencil 1, 4, 3, 5, and then 2, because I did learn along the way that there are certain images you want to color first if you're making them very dark. And I had a plan for today, but I think I'm going to change it up a little bit. We are going to be using grays and blues and purples. So for the main portion of my building here, I'm going to bring in Rocky Slope and a big brush, and I am going to go really, really, really light. I want a little bit of color, not too dark. And with these big brushes, you can really get a nice light color on there. So let's get that stencil off of there. And you can see that rocky slope, but it's not very dark. So that was stencil 1. Now we will bring in stencil 2, and these are our windows. So I am going to ink up my brush, and then I will take some of that ink and put it on my stencil before I bring it to my image. I just want a little glow of light in there, not too heavy. Now we are bringing in stencil number 3, and we're going to get a little bit darker here. So here I am coming in with some sky blue, and I'll use that larger brush again because I can get nice coverage, and that is coming along nicely. Now we will come in with stencil number 5, and we're going to come in with slumber. And I'm going to go a little heavier. All right, let's see what we've got there. That was slumber on stencil number 5. Now we've got stencil number 2, and this is dark. This is going to be very dark. But I think before we come in with that, we're going to come back in with our very first stencil. I want to make that gray just a little bit darker. I think I made it too light. And what's nice about the stencils, you can always come back in and add more color. So back to stencil 1, rocky slope, and we're going to make that a little darker. Just a little bit. Yeah, that's a lot better. So now we'll come in with stencil 2, and we're going to go really heavy here. And I hope I don't ruin this here. I didn't do a sample of this color plan, so I'm going to bring in some purple. We're bringing in opulence, and I want really dark purple. So we've got all our windowsills and frames and all that nice and dark with opulence. I think I want my window shades. I can't think of what it's called right now. Not my shades. I think I want that opulence also, but I'm not going to make it quite as dark. That's going to be a little lighter. And then for my tables and my chairs, I'm going to come back in with slumber again, and I will go really dark. All right, now we will see if I made a good decision or a bad decision with that. opulence. Oh, that's not too bad. I think that looks good. I think I like that. That looks pretty good. So now we can set that aside so that can dry, and let's bring in our Bloomscape panel that is also hot foiled in black foil. And these stencils we will do in order. So this is one, and I am coming in with Grassy Knoll, and then I will come in with Olive, and we're just going to add a little shading to those leaves like we usually do. And then we can come in with stencil 2. We've got some more greenery, larger leaves, and here we will just go all olive. But we will make it darker at the base of our leaves, like for this large one. We'll just make sure that that is darker at the base. Let's see how that looks. Perfect. Then we've got stencil number 3, and we are starting on some of our flowers. Let's do these in yellow. I've got Sunshine here. So then we'll come in with some sweet mustard, and we will add a little highlight to the base of those flowers. Then we've got stencil number 4, and I'm going to come in with more yellow and some purple because I want everything to tie together. So I'm just going to mask my purple flowers. We'll do these yellow. That was Sunshine, and then we'll come in with some sweet mustard. Then we will remove our masks, and we're going to come in with Opulence, but I'm going to keep it kind of light. I don't want it to be too dark. So we're nice and light all the way around, and then we will come in heavy at the base. And then we've got our final stencil, stencil number 5. And for my flower centers, I'm going to use Olive. I hope this looks good when it's done because I'm kind of winging it here. I had a plan for a different color scheme and I changed my mind. So now we'll bring back in our Opulence, and I think we'll do, so we have a few more purple flowers. We'll do the remainder purple, just not too dark. Except for these 3, we will make those really dark. And now we can see what we got. Oh, that's pretty. And so now that I've actually got my purple flowers done, I'm looking at my buildings, and I think I'm going to bring that back in, and I will make my awnings. There we go, awnings. I couldn't think of that word earlier. I am going to make my awnings a little bit darker with that Opulence, which is super easy to do. We'll just line that up and come back in really heavy. Let's do our tabletop in Opulence also. So I covered the seats and I left the tabletop, and we will do that nice and dark. Oh, I like that much better. I like that dark purple. So now we can get our dies out and we can die cut all of our images. Now we can get everything all popped out of there, and it looks like I had a little shifting in my die cutting machine, but I think it might be all right. I didn't tape it down. So then I've got 2 panels here that I cut from the dotted nested deckled rectangles, and I used the second from the largest, and we are going to place our buildings in the center and then kind of figure out how we want our flowers. So I know that I need to trim some of my flowers so that everything will fit. And I know I want this one. I'm just going to carefully trim that. Then we will come over here and we're going to cut this off, this one little sprig. And we can round those edges so it looks complete. And I'll have one little flower over here. And I'm just going to fiddle and fuss here for a minute. I hope everybody is doing well and enjoying spring. Everything is good here. We're just going to decorate our buildings. I also want to add some yellow in there. I did trim that one just a little bit. And we can put that over here. I want a mix of yellow and purple all over. I'm really upset that my die shifted a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think anybody will really notice it except for me. I think that's looking good. Now we can throw in some green leaves and just fill everything in. I think I'm pretty much done fussing here. So now I will just go ahead and I will glue down all my images behind my buildings. And I will just use liquid glue for that. Now that we've got all of our flowers glued down in place, we can add foam tape behind our buildings. So there was one flower over here on our building on the right that I actually adhered right underneath the building. So I stuck that underneath the foam tape. Let's get this centered and get that placed. That looks good. Then we can attach our other building. And then I will bring in a mix of thick and thin foam squares. And I am just going to place foam squares underneath those flowers so they pop up. I want lots of dimension. Then I've got my little flower that I'm going to put right here in front of the window, and I added a thin foam square behind that. And we have one flower left over. Wow. So now we've got our choice for sentiments. I wasn't sure if I was going to want black with white foil or white with black foil. And you know what? I really think I'm liking the white. My goodness, I don't know. So let's choose our background first. I've got a couple different options here. I pulled some Spellbinders cardstock, and I don't know which one I want to use. I think for this one, I think this might match really well. I think that does. So we'll go with that color. And then we've got a darker purple. That purple doesn't really match though. I think we'll go with the blues. We'll use this dark blue. I think the dark blue is Cosmic. And then this lighter blue might be Celestial. I'll have to check. Everything will be listed and linked in the description below. So let's get those panels added to our other panel. And for that, I will use a little bit of foam tape. So I've got 2 card bases, and then I've got 2 additional layering panels that I dry embossed out of petal trellis. I will go ahead and directly adhere my floral and building image to that, and then I will add those to the card bases. And those cards are done. I think they came out fabulous. I just love those. I am so glad that I decided to add in the opulence instead of all blue. They came out perfect. I added some amethyst glitter drops, scattered those around, and I was still undecided which sentiment to use, so I used one of each. That way you can tell me, which one do you like better? Do you like the white with the black foil or the black with the white foil? I have a couple others here. I also did these 2 in the blue and yellow, and that's actually what we were going to do today, but I'm so glad I added that opulence. And then I also have a couple here that I did in cherry blossom and then the sage ink, and those are beautiful too. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Please leave me a comment. Please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.